Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we look at March Comes Like a Lion episode 10. So this episode was surprisingly very simple and yet so powerful. Probably one of the most powerful episodes we've seen of this. And I want to talk about why I thought it was just like one of the best episodes. Ironically enough, even though at the halfway point I was like, oh my god, this is really, really boring. So the beginning starts off with Kyoka telling Ray that she forgot something at his apartment, and that was a watch. And he's like, "Oh, I finally found it." And they end up kind of talking to one another. And of course, right away, she starts saying horrible, horrible, mean things to him, making him feel like crap once again. It's typical Kyoka at this point that she's telling him how the his opponent is some guy who apparently just got divorced recently and is going through a lot of issues. He's not even gonna be able to spend Christmas with his family and stuff like that. And that kind of activates Ray into remembering his Christmas in many ways, where he's like, he remembers where everyone got different gifts, and you could see some people really enjoyed their gifts. Like little Kyoka did not like her gift, but Ray enjoyed his little shogi board that he got from his adopted father at the time. And it goes to show you that that I guess they really see Christmas in different ways. But I think Ray was thinking of a time that he really per se understood Christmas a little bit more, but at the same time was not fully invested in Christmas either, because of at that point that's when he lost his family and stuff like that. So that definitely was something that affected him as a child. Anyways, so the switch here is, and probably the most boring part of this whole episode, ironically enough, is the shogi actual game itself, where you see him and his opponent, which is the guy who just got divorced I was talking about recently, playing against each other in the shogi game. And it's a very meticulous type scene where you just see maybe for a good solid maybe 5 minutes them just playing. That's it. That's all. They're just putting down pieces. They're very rarely talking. Very few words are said during this whole sequence of events. Like, I mean, so little. It's crazy. I mean, they even switch to the next section, which is the second volume part. Like how they switch to the next chapter. They do that, and they're still playing. And I'm like, oh boy. I was watching this, and I'm like, wow, this is kind of meticulous. There was some imagery used that I think was trying to convey, I want to say like a battlefield in ways, and kind of just convey what was going through Ray's mind in general in the course of the events of this whole battle going on. And of course, during the sequence of events too, is the guy loses. I mean, that's kind of obvious. I think that he was more focused on his divorce and stuff like that, so he lost. And they go over like a thing at the end where they go over a review to see why everything went the way it did, and he's like, you know what, I'm out. He leaves. He gets up, and he leaves behind a Christmas gift that was probably for someone in his family. And Ray brings it out to him, and this is where this whole sequence changes very dramatically. This episode changes right here, where Ray is trying to be the good guy here. He's trying to give him back the gift, and the guy's like, I don't want that. It's I just left it there on purpose. And various words are said here. I mean, like, I can't remember exactly every single thing that was said here, but more so than anything, it was the fact that this guy was just very pissed off and very angry. And this kind of just goes to show you that someone that he has his mind somewhere else, and Ray, kind of is not helping at the moment, even though he's trying to do a good gesture. And this guy is just lost to his own kind of devices and own things in his head, and he really causes Ray to kind of get pissed off. This is where we see Ray for the first time get really annoyed. The guy leaves, and Ray just starts running. And what I love about this is, as Ray's running, you see some various imagery. I love the imagery for March Comes Like a Lion. I mean, this is some of the nicest stuff. It looks like watercolor, so there's a whole bunch of little visual effects that were really nice and really cool to watch. But he keeps running, and he says very little. Like, he's just running and saying, what happened? What did I do? What's wrong? And then he gets to a park and just starts screaming. And I'm like, wow, that was awesome. Like, this is the first time we've seen Ray explode in anger or any emotion whatsoever. I mean, so far we have not seen him do anything emotion-wise. He's been always very calm, collected. For the most part, he's not ever reacted to something that, even if it's sad or frustrating, he reacts to it very little. Here he blows up and he yells at the top of his lungs. And I'll tell you right now, I was sitting there and I was like, wow. I felt the emotion, and that's very rare for a show to do, that it transitions from something on screen to something that you feel inside your heart. And I felt it as he was yelling. I felt his pain and anguish. And I think he wasn't yelling per se at the guy. I mean, he's probably pissed off at the guy for treating him in a way that's almost condescending, despite him being the good guy here. But he was angry at himself. He was angry at the fact that he reacted the way he did, where he wasn't pissed off back or he didn't do anything like that. I think he was reacting to everything, like just letting loose everything on his plate right now, and I loved it. It was some of the strongest stuff I've seen in an anime in a recent time that I could think of, and I love the scene. I really think it just goes to show you that March Comes Like a Lion really, to me, is one of the anime of the year contenders, to be honest with you. Um, so far, this is probably one of the best episodes. It was one of the weaker episodes, like I said before, in the first half, because I think the first half was a mixed bag. I mean, I understood what they were trying to do, like, and by the way, if it sounds like a cut, by the way, I did cut. I do apologize for that, but I was trying to do it seamless. But if it doesn't sound like a cut, then no, I didn't cut what you talked about. But like I understand why. I get the fact of how the episode had kind of build up for this moment, because I mean, if you think about it, the build up for this whole episode is very important because it started off so low level and so low key to kind of burst into something that was very worthwhile and fulfilling, and I understand it was almost like a slow burn. So I have to say the episode was great overall. I'm just saying that it definitely was deceptively slow in the beginning. I will not lie, it was so slow in the beginning. I was worried about this. I was like, oh man, this episode might be one of the weaker episodes of the season. I hope not. But anyways, overall, I really enjoyed this episode, and like I said before in my Occultic 9 episode, that's probably coming out first, the review for that. I apologize for this being out late. I had other stuff to do yesterday. I had family stuff. So I will talk to you guys later. I hope you enjoyed this review. As always, if you did like this review or the other one, like the channel, go like the channel, or like the video, share the video, comment, etc. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great, blessed day. Bye-bye.